Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from New York City to WCS America, the final, the culmination of Season 1 in the America region. Of course, WCS Korea has concluded. WCS Europe has concluded for Season 1, and this is the final of WCS America. Both these players are already through to the global season finals in Korea next week. But now we're trying to decide which player will walk home with $20,000 and 1,500 WCS points, and who will walk home with $12,000 and 1,000 points. And of course, who will be crowned champion of WCS America Season 1. Currently in this best of 7, we have Hero versus Revival. Revival up 2-0. And I don't think many people would have predicted that, considering just how dominant Hero has been in his path to this point. Before I continue, though, allow me to introduce these players, beginning with the top right-hand location. The Red Protoss player, who is currently down 0-2, has some work to do representing Team Liquid. He is Hero. Do not count him out. His opponent in the bottom left-hand location of Daybreak still has a 100% win rate against Protoss in this tournament. Up 2-0 in this best of 7. Hailing from Team Evil Geniuses, he is Revival. So, Nick, what does Hero do here?
Hero's got to take it to the late game, man.
So if you're Hero's coach and you see he's down 0-2, what do you go tell him right now?
I tell him build Void Rays.
Dude, that's cheating, man.
Okay. If I wasn't going to cheat, I would tell him, take his third patiently.
Yeah.
2 base Phoenix, scout out Revival. Go to, get a Colossus, take the third base. Maybe your third's not the fastest third possible, but you got the Phoenixes. You can tell exactly what your opponent's doing. And Hero's a guy, if he gets in that mid game and in the late game, he is just absolutely scary. We saw that in his series against Scarlet in the round of 16. Both games, he fell significantly behind early on. Like, Scarlet just straight out was crushing him early on. But then he gets a decent army, and he's like, oh, now that I have a large army, I'm just going to micro it perfectly.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to never lose a unit and win. And that's the situation he needs to get into. Both these games, he's never got that big Protoss army that really showcases his micro potential.
And, that's kind of based on his own play, too, because, game 1, again, he went for that pressure build, that Immortal and off of 2 bases. Didn't quite work out. Revival positioning himself perfectly. Of course, game 2 decided to go for a very fast third, a relatively standard build on Akalon Waste, but Revival, in a sense, realizing that, kind of went for the direct counter in a sense, investing pretty much all of his resources. He was on 44 drones or less into nothing but Lings and Roaches, taking Hero completely off guard. So for those of you counting Hero out, you are a fool and you are silly. Hero can definitely come back here. So, I agree with you. If I'm Hero's coach, I'm saying, you know what? Let's get to the mid game. Let's get that unit composition out. Let's play nice and safe, but not too safe, and try to bring it back. But, the question always remains, Hero, a very emotional player. How much is he affected right now, being down 0-2?
It's got to be a rough spot. Oh, 4 Zergians coming in. Probe has got built. No, they're going to go right past, getting straight into the main end. And this can be very annoying to a Protoss player. With good probe control, you're not going to lose the game by any means, but just having to constantly pull probes off minerals to fend those Zergians off, the damage done to your mining time adds up.
One of the most stressful things as a Protoss is when 4 Lings manage to sneak by into your main base. Heads up move here from Revival, identifying his opponent's build. Those Lings arrived not a second too early. They're absolutely perfectly timed, and now Hero has 4 very annoying Lings in his main base.
This is something that's just so incredibly frustrating to deal with. Hero microing excellently, not losing a single probe quite yet. Very impressive play there. This is actually super impressive that he's been able to avoid losses. 1 probe going down, 2, but he takes out every single Zergling. So losing 3 total.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
mining time.
I actually feel it could have gone a lot worse for Hero because imagine how much more would be lost. Oh, and the scouting probe getting. And that one's probably not going to make it out. Yep, there he goes. The one thing to consider is that while he only lost, he did lose a few probes there, but it actually went pretty well if you consider the fact that now that the Zergians are gone, he can just do whatever he wants. He can keep all his probes mining, whereas sometimes if it takes you until you get a Psychor done and a Stalker out to actually chase those Zerglings away, and you're constantly having to lose mining time throughout that, it can be even more of a trouble. So Hero dealing with it very well, and might going to sell it very well too. Is he actually going to beat the...
It's going to be close.
He's going to beat...
It's going to be very close.
The Zealot gave up. He stopped stutter stepping.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that actually is a really cool micro trick there that people don't get because they think, oh, you only kite back if you have more range, like a Stalker versus Zealot.
Sure.
What actually happens is the fact that the Zerglings have a much faster attack rate than the Zealot. The Zealot takes a step back between attacks. In that situation where the Zealot would still be on cooldown, but the Zergling would be constantly attacking, nobody's attacking, and the Zealot gets a much more optimal engagement if he's constantly trying to move around. Also, the Zerglings bump into each other and aren't all able to engage. So Hero microing very well, taking out 3 of the Zerglings, not quite able to take out the 4th.
Stargate about to finish up here for Hero. Before we get too far in this game, shout out to all the bar crafts around the world. Got a tweet from Cleveland Barcraft. Shout out to you guys. Awesome initiative there, getting that up. Of course, Legends, I know, is going on in New York City. And by the way, tweet at MLG. You can tweet at us as well, at AxelToss and at ISAxLab. Thanks for tuning in and spreading esports around the world. Truly an awesome phenomenon.
Hero not trying to hide this Phoenix. Sending it straight to where an overhead might be, trying to kill that scout off as soon as possible. Revival, going lair, roach horn, Zergling speed. Getting more than 46 drones this game. So not at all the same as we saw last game. Moonstrip is 60 drones. Adding in the evolution chamber as well. More gases going down. So he's going to have a lot of options to which direction he wants to go. And if he can find out Hero's timing to the 3rd, that's going to be a great asset to him as well.
Yeah, he has an Overlord very close. Yeah, he's already seen the timing of that 3rd base of Hero, so he knows of its existence. Behind this, he's droning up. So it's not like, again, as you said, he's not going for any sort of aggression to try to deny that 3rd base like he did in the last game, at least as of right now. But adding on roach speed, adding on +1 missile attack, so instead of favoring, you know, a typical... what some Zerg players are doing as far as the mass Ling style, something like that. Going to be focusing on the roaches at this point, likely going into Hydras a little bit later. And then, of course, you know, Viper is going to be a common add-on, though Swarm Host, a lot of StarCraft players, a lot of Zerg players have been using Swarm Host lately. So still a lot of things to keep our eyes out for.
You know what's interesting? So Revival is actually cutting drones at 60-61, which means he doesn't want to play a real longer macro game against a 3-base Protoss. And we notice he's building a lot of Overlords as well, so he's going to have a lot of extra supply. That's going to allow him to produce a whole ton of roaches at once. If you produce a whole ton of roaches at once, the Protoss opponent may not see them coming as likely, and you can really catch them off guard, try to power down to 3rd base, even natural, by endless waves of roach numbers.
Now, the problem with this might be the number of Void Arrays that are going to be added on to the map from Hero fairly soon. He has 2 Stargates on the way, Void Arrays in production, +1 air attacks on the way as well. But the problem here is they don't get out that fast, and Void Arrays in small numbers against Lings and Roaches honestly aren't that good, because the Lings and Roaches just, there's a ridiculous amount of them, and it's going to be pretty impossible to try to DPS them down fast enough until you get enough Void Arrays out. You want the splash damage, you want the AoE, you know, Colossi, Templar type units, or Force Field at the very least. I feel like Hero's going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with this Ling Roach aggression.
Journeying up behind this big push. Revival's moving out here. He definitely wants to do some damage. Can Hero hold on to his 3rd base? Or will Revival even go straight for the natural, try to take out some of the key buildings like the Psychor, getting that air upgrade?
There's a pylon there in the wall, so that could be a great place to look at, but might focus on this Cybercore. That's exactly what he's going to do. A lot of Roaches and Lings coming forward here from Revival, taking down the Cybercore in a matter of seconds, now focusing on the Warp Gate. Hero scrambling to try to deal with this Void Array, trying to do damage from above, but Revival trying to push his way through, and it looks like he might back away here. The Force Fields are decent from Hero, as well as the Photon Overcharge, and the Void Arrays and Mothership Core are doing a lot of damage from above, but what's coming is what's interesting here from Revival. Aspire about to finish, 800 gas stored up. The problem is, Hero has 3 Stargates. He can easily go into Phoenix production.
Revival trying to get a lot of damage done there, taking out a Psycho, which is nice, but the Force Fields by Hero were just instrumental, taking 0 economic damage. And remember, Revival cut a significant amount of drones in his early mid-game to make that push happen. 8 mutants in production, but like you said, there's 3 Stargates out. Heroes realize his opponent's backed away. He suspects there might be mutless transition, and he's cranking out Phoenixes.
10 mutas on the way. Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I'm wondering if Revival has been able to identify this. He saw all the Voiders in the air. He saw the upgrade on the Cybernetics core. So I wonder if this is a position where he just makes mutas and then does a really quick transition into, you know, maybe Infestors, maybe something else. But the point is not investing a lot in mutas. However, I don't think that's happening. He's still making nothing but mutas, using all of his gas on that, and he has the +1 air attacks on the way.
Void Ray hit squad hitting the main base. Mothership core is still a few energy away from getting that recall.
Spire's there too. He can target that down easily. Looks like he wants to focus on that Queen and then the Spore Crawler. And remember, he can recall out here anytime he wants. More Voiders come in, more Phoenixes as well. This is a very dangerous composition here, and I don't think mutas alone can deal with this.
No, the Phoenixes and Voiders combined, there's not enough mutas. The supplies, or even mutas have to engage before the Spire dies, but it's gonna fall down.
The Spire falls. I don't think +1 finished either. The mutas trying to deal with this, but so many air units here from Hero. Lots of Phoenixes, lots of Voiders, and lots more Phoenix joining in on the action. Revival losing every single muta, and remember how much he invested into those. Hero looking so good in this game.
This is not what Revival wants. He has 4 Corruptors on the way that may be enough to temporarily save his main from the Voiders, but the Phoenixes are having a play day with the Overlords.
Revival desperately trying to place Spore Crawlers around his main base, trying to save the layer, trying to save everything that is here. A lot of Overlords going to fall here, but finally all the Spore Crawlers are able to finish, and Hero's going to have to back away, going to turn around and try to engage these Corruptors. Picking up a Queen. Nice snag there from Hero, but I think he's going to be happy with that attack.
Hero has got to be all smiles here. His natural his attempted a counterattack there as well. Of course, that was deflected. And Hero going forward, he's going to go back into Void Ray production. He has this massive Phoenix force. Revival's got to try to figure out, okay, I'm behind in army size. I've got a decent economy, but he does as well. I need to find a composition that on a roughly even economy can beat this massive Void Ray Phoenix.
Looks like he's going to start working on Hydras. I mean, he has that +2 air weapons on the way. He has Hydra range on the way as well. But it's always tricky, Hydras against Phoenixes, especially if they're not together, because Phoenixes can start trying to isolate them. So look out for the Corruptors to stick around with those Hydras to make sure they're safe from those Phoenixes. And maybe a little bit later, Infestors being added on to try to snag these groups of units from the Protoss player.
The Mothership has enough energy for almost 2 recalls, but 1 is all he'll need. Going for a little hit squad, he's going to try to snipe this top left hatchery with the Void Rays.
Great move here from Hero. I remember first seeing this in Flying versus Rain, and I think it was the MVP Invitational. Of course, Rain using that's a great effect. Now Hero coming and denying this 4th base, taking out that hatchery. Spore Crawler is still desperately trying to do damage. A Queen from below as well. And the Phoenix is going to be pursuing these Corruptors. They're running for their lives. A couple going to be taken out here. And Hero, again, he feels like he just has all the momentum in this game.
He's moving out with a massive amount of Zealots. His Air Force is very gas heavy. What has Hero been spending his minerals on? He hasn't been banking them. Here comes the ground troops coming to join in the fray. Revival is struggling to defend.
So many charge lots on the ground here for Hero. The Hydra's coming in here, but Hero saying, oh, you have Hydras, okay, I'll pick all of them up. The Void Ray still a huge force in this army, and the Zealots just now joining in on the fun. Hero up 180 to 136. Revival has no room to breathe, has no answer to this massive Zealot Phoenix Void Ray play here from Hero, and I think Hero might take this. There's the GG from Revival. Hero is not going to say, I give up. Hero is going to stay in and play hard, and that's exactly what happened there, especially a game starting out with. You're down 0-2. 4 Lings get by into your main. Honestly, I'm going to GG'd in that situation if I was playing. But Hero able to keep his mind together, stay focused, and focus on that mid to late game plan.
Instrumental in that game was Hero's excellent defense from that mass Roach Assault on his natural. And then because he defended it so cleanly, he's able to swing right back across the map with this Void Ray Mothership Phoenix force. And even though Revival had about 14 to 16 mutas, I think, it doesn't matter. With the Void Rays in the front to tank, the Phoenix is providing amazing damage per second against mutas from the back there. As more Phoenixes rallied in, there was just too much Protoss air. The mutas evaporated and the entire control of the map switched over into Hero's hands.
Great play there from Hero. I think the coolest part might be the consistent Void Ray hit squads that were going across the map, realizing, okay, I can just recall any moment I want. Let's see how much damage I can get done. Hero playing a great game 3 there. He is not going anywhere. Guys, you're watching WCS America, the final. A best of 7 between Hero and Revival. Revival currently up 2-1. You don't want to miss this. Game 4.